2026 is shaping up to be a huge year for the market, and there are a few companies that are perfectly positioned for it. Today, I'm breaking down the top 8 stocks that I think that will lead the next wave in this upcoming rally. So let's get straight to it. For the first stock on today's list is ticker symbol TSLA, which is known as Tesla. Tesla is one of those companies where if you only focus on the day-to-day noise, you'll miss the bigger picture completely. The stock can be volatile, everyone knows that, but when you actually look at where the company is heading into 2026, the long-term story is still incredibly strong. What makes Tesla different isn't just the cars, it's the entire ecosystem they're building. The company isn't trying to compete like a normal automaker. They're building energy storage, battery technology, AI, robotics, autonomous driving, charging infrastructure, all under one roof. No other company is doing all of that at the same scale. People forget that Tesla is basically an energy company, an AI company, and an auto company all at once. And every year, those pieces get more connected. The more cars they sell, the more data they collect. The more data they collect, the more their AI gets. The better the AI gets, the more valuable full self-driving becomes. It's a cycle that compounds over time. Short term, sure, the stock can pull back hard. It always has. But Tesla is also known for those massive rebounds where it moves $20 to $30 in a day without even a warning. That's the nature of a high growth company in a transformative sector. Heading into 2026, a few things stand out for me personally. The energy storage is growing faster than cars. AI and robotics are becoming real revenue streams. Full self-driving keeps improving, and once it gets widely adopted, it changes the entire value of the company overnight. And then obviously the global demand is still strong. Tesla's long-term potential isn't tied to one product like I mentioned before. It's tied to an entire shift of how energy, transportation, and automation work. If you believe in that macro direction, Tesla is positioned better than almost anyone, if I'm being honest. Next on the list is quantum computing. When it comes to QUBT, the short-term chart doesn't look great. It's been pulling back, and the trend is clearly down right now. But when you zoom out and actually look at what this company is building, the long-term story is still really solid. Quantum computing is one of those industries that's still early, but the potential is massive. The problems quantum computers can solve, things like complex simulation, drug discovery, security, are things regular computers simply can't handle, no matter how powerful they get. So companies that are positioning themselves in this space now are essentially setting the foundation for what could be the next huge technology wave. QUBT is interesting because they're focusing on the software and application side of quantum computing, which is where most of the practical value will eventually come from. Hardware is important, but the companies that build the tools people actually use, that's where long-term revenue and adoption tend to grow. Yeah, the stock is weak right now, but that's normal for early stage tech, especially in a tight market we're in right now. Quantum computing isn't going to explode overnight. It's a long-term play, but as the industry matures and as more businesses start testing and integrating quantum solutions, companies like QUBT are going to be right in that conversation. So heading into 2026 and beyond, the potential here is tied to the growth of the entire quantum sector. It's similar to where AI was years ago, early, not fully understood, but the ones who were in early ended up ahead when adoption actually hit. Next on the list is shocking. It's a crypto, and that is Solana. Honestly, Solana is one of those projects that makes more sense the more you watch how people are actually using it. A lot of crypto projects sound good on paper. Solana is one of the few that's backed by real activity, real users, and real transactions happening every single day. What I like about Solana is pretty simple. It's fast, it's cheap, and it actually works at scale. When the rest of the market gets congested or fees start to spike, Solana keeps running like nothing happened. That's why so many new projects, apps, and users naturally gravitate towards it without anyone needing to hype it up like most of these crypto projects. Even though the whole crypto market is down right now, that's more of a macro thing than a Solana thing. Rates are high, liquidity is tight, people are taking profit from the run we saw. It's pretty much normal. Crypto always has these cool down phases before the next expansion leg. When you zoom out, Solana is still one of the best positions out there. Developer activity is huge, the ecosystem keeps growing, and more real businesses and apps are choosing Solana because it's actually usable. That's what sets it apart. It's not just a promising future, it's already delivering in the present. So what I think we're heading for in 2026 is we're moving into a phase of the cycle where real adoption kicks in, not speculation, actual usage. And Solana is the chain people are already using every day. If crypto expands the way it historically does after these cool down periods, Solana has a real chance to retest its highs and push further. And if you're asking for my personal price target, I think this is easily $1,000 crypto, but as time goes, we'll see if that actually becomes true. Next on the list is where a lot of my money is right now, and that's Vanguard, ticker symbol VOO. Honestly, Vanguard is one of the easiest long-term long-term investments to understand, and that's why so many people consider it the responsible choice. You're basically buying the top 500 companies in the US in one single investment. You're not trying to time the market, you're not guessing which stock will be the next big winner, you're actually owning the entire market. If you look at Vanguard's long-term chart, it tells a real simple story. The US market goes through corrections, crashes, and volatility, but it will always trend higher over time. Every major dip eventually recovers, and long-term holders end up in a better position than they were before. And that's the thing about Vanguard. You don't need to be perfect with timing. You don't have to constantly check charts. You don't have to worry about earning reports or one company messing up. It's diversified automatically, and it updates itself as the economy changes. Bad companies get pushed out, strong companies take their place. Financially, it's one of the cleanest setups you can have. Historically, the S&P 500 returns around 7 to 10% per year after inflation. Add dividends on top of that, and it becomes a real powerful compounding machine if you just let time do the work. Heading into 2026, the long-term outlook for Vanguard is the same as it has always been. Stable growth, steady compounding, and a lot less stress than trying to trade everything. It's not meant to be exciting, it's meant to be reliable. And if your goal is to build serious wealth over time, reliability beats hype every single time. Next on the list is one of my personal favorites, and that's Palantir. Palantir is one of those companies that makes more sense the deeper you look into it. A lot of people used to brush it off because they didn't really understand what the company does, but going into 2026, it's actually in a really strong spot. For starters, Palantir isn't just another tech stock trying to push software. They built the kind of systems government and huge organizations rely on for real. Once a government agency or a Fortune 500 company starts using Palantir, they don't usually switch. The software becomes part of their entire workflow, and that's long term. What's interesting right now is how the world is finally catching up to what Palantir has been doing for years. Everyone now is talking about AI. Meanwhile, Palantir already has fully built AI platforms that companies are actually using every single day. They're not trying to figure it out. They've been doing it. And on top of all that government work, their commercial business have been growing fast. More companies are adopting, and once it's integrated, it becomes the operating system for that specific business. That kind of adoption adds up over time. Financially, they're in good shape. They're profitable. They're not drowning in debt, and they're positioned really well for the next cycle of tech growth. But the real reason I like them heading into 2026 is I think the next couple of years are when AI moves from the cool idea to something companies actually rely on, and Palantir is one of the few companies already built for that transition. So nothing crazy, just a company in the right place at the right time with the right product and the kind of customers that stay for years. Next on today's list is Google. The core of Google, the search ads, YouTube, Gmail, Maps, is already one of the most dominant ecosystems on the planet. And the crazy thing is, these businesses still grow every single year. Most companies would kill to have just one of Google's revenue streams. But what really stands out heading into 2026 is how much the company has been leaning into AI and cloud. People talk about AI like it's brand new, but Google has been building the technology behind the scenes for over a decade. They literally invented half the frameworks the AI world uses today. Google Cloud is also catching real momentum. They've gone from lagging behind AWS to becoming a serious competitor, especially with businesses adopting AI and needing more compute. That's a massive long-term growth driver most people aren't paying attention to as of yet. If you're going to focus on the fundamentals, they have strong margins, low debt, tons of cash, and consistent buybacks, and the scale to invest in anything they want in the next coming decades. The reason Google feels like such a solid long-term hold is simple. They can diversify, and it has the resources to stay ahead. Even if one area slows down, another usually picks up the slack. So while it may not have the crazy hype swings of Tesla or crypto, Google is one of those steady, dominant companies that build to keep winning over time. Next on the list is Microsoft. What makes Microsoft different is how many parts of the tech world it controls at the same time. Most companies have one major product. Microsoft has an entire ecosystem similar to Google. They have Windows, they have Office, LinkedIn, Xbox, and every single one of them is a massive business on its own. Together, they create stability that very few companies in the world can match. And speaking of AI, Microsoft has been ahead of the curve here as well. Their partnership with OpenAI is a massive advantage. They're integrating AI into Windows, Office, cybersecurity, and even developer tools. On top of that, you got gaming and entertainment, Xbox, Activision. That gives Microsoft a huge foothold in one of the fastest growing sectors. That's another revenue stream that people often overlook when talking about the company's long-term potential. So heading into 2026, the outlook is pretty straightforward. Microsoft is positioned right at the center of AI, productivity, cybersecurity, and gaming, four industries that are only only getting bigger, and because they're already established in all of them, they don't need to reinvent themselves to keep winning. It's one of the most stable, reliable long-term investments out there, and that's exactly why so many people keep it in their portfolio year after year. And this next one might catch people off guard, but it is Nvidia. Their data center business is a huge part of why the long-term outlook remains so strong in my opinion. Every major AI model, training, interference, robotics, automation runs on Nvidia's hardware. As companies expand their AI workloads, they need more compute, more speed, and more memory. And Nvidia, for me at least, is the center of that shift. On top of that, they're pushed into multiple fast-growing sectors at once: the autonomous vehicles, robots, medical simulations, gaming hardware, supercomputers. I can go on for days. Nvidia has meaningful exposure in all of them. Each sector brings in its own revenue stream, and financially, they're one of the strongest companies in tech. They have huge margins, massive revenue growth, expanding demand, and honestly, very little competition in my opinion. They consistently innovate faster than the rest of the industry, and every new generation of chips widens the gap even more. So heading into 2026, for me at least, Nvidia is positioned right at the center of AI, and because they already dominate in these areas. To end things off, I want all of you guys to realize the importance of investing into the long term. I personally swing trade all the time, but the money that you make, whether it's day trading or swing trading, should eventually go towards some of these long-term stocks that I mentioned earlier in this video. For the people that's been asking, all of my trades, all of my updated positions are in the Discord. The Discord will officially open up again December 1st. So if you haven't joined the waitlist yet, now's the time. Spots will be limited, and I want the right people in there from day one. And don't forget to join the newsletter. I send out market updates, watch lists, and breakdowns just like the ones you saw today. It's the easiest way to stay ahead without having to dig through everything yourself. Let's get this video to 100 likes, and I'll see you guys in the next one.